Welcome to Hellcat's King of the Hill podcast.
Yes, so glad to be here.
Imagine trying to conduct a symphony orchestra, right? Like a heavy metal band and a 100-person gospel choir all at the exact same time.
Oh, man.
And now imagine doing that without a baton, without sheet music, and without even being in the same room as the musicians. You're using nothing but a computer keyboard and a highly specific text document.
It sounds impossible.
It does, but that is the bizarre, infinite new frontier of music we are looking at today. For this deep dive, we have a really exciting mission. We are reviewing the top 3 winning tracks from episode 6 of the latest AI music community competition.
And it's a frontier that completely, rewrites how we think about human expression. We are so used to the physical transaction of music. You pluck a string, and physics dictates that it vibrates.
Right, exactly.
You strike a drum, and the wood and air resonate. But in the realm of AI music generation, we are stepping outside of those physical boundaries and moving into pure mathematics and probability.
And that lack of limitation is exactly what we are exploring today. We're looking at how human creators are using incredibly precise technical cues to shape these massive, atmospheric, psychedelic, and just frankly mind-bendingly creative soundscapes.
Yeah, and to really map out how creators are evolving in their use of these neural networks, we're going to walk through this in reverse order.
Okay, I like that, building the suspense.
Exactly. So we will start with the third place track, then we'll examine the mechanics of the second place track, and then dedicate the bulk of our time to unpacking the absolute technical marvel that is the undisputed first place King of the Hill winner.
Okay, well, let's jump right into the third place track. It pulled an 86.7 out of 100. It's called The Heavens, the Lone Wolf remix by the artist Lone Wolf.
A fantastic track.
Truly. And before we get to the insanely complex microscopic engineering of the top 2 tracks, we actually need to look at what happens when a creator does the exact opposite. Lone Wolf went completely minimalist.
They really did.
Yeah, they relied almost entirely on a single style prompt. It was just a custom tag reading, quote, Lone Wolf's signature style.
Which is honestly a masterclass in trusting the AI's latent space. If you're experimenting with these models at home, you've probably encountered this term.
Right, the latent space.
Yeah, but let's break down how it actually works mechanically. Because the latent space isn't just like a library of MP3s that the AI pulls from.
No, not at all.
It's this massive, multidimensional mathematical web. Every sound, genre, tempo, and emotion ever analyzed by the algorithm is mapped out as data points.
That's spatial.
Exactly. In this web, the concept of darkness is physically closer in proximity to the sound of a disported cello than it is to, say, a kazoo.
Right. Okay, so most producers treat that web like a hyper-specific GPS. They type in 50 different prompts to force the AI to navigate an exact path. Like, turn left at the jazz drums, go right at the heavy metal guitars, stop exactly at this frequency.
Precisely. But Lone Wolf didn't do that. By using just their signature style tag, they essentially dropped a single heavy anchor into that latent space.
Wow.
Yeah, they told the neural network, you understand the mathematical relationships between brooding cinematic rock and a dark atmosphere. I'm going to let you calculate the rest.
But wait, let me use an analogy here, or maybe a bit of pushback. It's like walking into a room with a seasoned session band, giving them a single look, and they just instantly know the dark, paranoid vibe you want without you saying a word.
That's a perfect way to put it.
But is it, though? If you just give the AI one single tag and let it do whatever it wants, aren't you essentially just pulling the lever on a slot machine?
Well,
Like, how is that human artistry? Aren't they just getting lucky that the AI spit out something that sounds cool?
that's a really common critique. But the answer lies in what that single tag actually represents. A custom signature style tag isn't a random roll of the dice. It's the culmination of hundreds of hours of previous training and curation by the artist.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Lone Wolf had already meticulously defined what their signature style looks like to the algorithm in prior sessions. So when they use it here, it's not a slot machine. It's a shorthand command to a highly trained collaborator.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they provided the lyrical framework, and the AI built this slow-burning, deeply paranoid chord progression around it.
Exactly.
And the vibe here is incredibly heavy. It's this hallucinatory, psychedelic rock environment. It's raining, it's cold, and the lyrics are incredibly visceral right out of the gate.
They really paint a picture.
Yeah, they wrote, "The clouds are cold and gray, it sets the scene, but then the second verse hits, and the imagery becomes physical." The lyric is, "My lungs are cracking from the ash and dust." You can literally feel the toll this environment is taking on the narrator.
And notice how the production mechanism mirrors that lyrical exhaustion.
How do you mean?
Well, because Lone Wolf didn't overprompt with complex drum fills or, competing synthesizers. The AI had the acoustic space to let the reverb tails of the guitars ring out longer.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It built tension slowly, methodically, leading to this massive hallucinatory chorus.
And the emotional impact of that chorus is brilliant. The lyrics just repeat, "The heavens are judging us."
It's so intense.
It really is. It completely shifts the perspective. The listener isn't just observing a rainy scene anymore. They feel actively judged by the sky itself.
Yeah, it's unsettling.
It proves that giving the AI room to breathe can create an overwhelmingly powerful experience.
It does. But, trusting the AI to generate a cinematic vibe is one thing. If you are trying to accomplish a very specific physiological goal, like getting a club full of people to dance, you can't just drop an anchor in the latent space and cross your fingers for a good rhythm.
Right, you need something much more calculated.
You need guaranteed mathematical precision. Which brings us to our second place winner.
Okay, this is a complete pivot in methodology. We are talking about Pretty Dangerous by Studio M519.
Yes, scoring an 88 out of 100.
If Lone Wolf gave the AI a knowing glance, Studio M519 handed it a 50-page architectural blueprint.
Oh, absolutely. This track is a masterclass in extreme calculated control. Studio M519 engineered a flawlessly sleek, high-energy hybrid of K-pop and dark EDM.
The blend is crazy.
And the prompt list they used to get there is staggering in its specificity.
It's wild. Let me read some of this for you. They didn't just ask for a dance beat. They demanded exactly 120 BPM.
Specific numbers.
Yeah, they mapped out deep bass, punchy electronic drums, sharp synth stabs, atmospheric pads. They even directed the exact vocal attitude.
Which is so hard to get right.
Yeah, they prompted for a, quote, female lead vocal with confidence, charisma, and playful danger.
And they structured exactly where the whispered vocal effects and attitude-filled spoken lines should land.
Okay, but hold on. Let me play devil's advocate again here.
Go for it.
When you give the AI such a rigid blueprint, down to the exact PTM and the attitude-filled spoken lines, does it limit the AI's creativity? Or does it just prove the human artist is an absolute master at playing the AI like an instrument?
It's definitely the latter. They're playing it like an instrument.
Yeah.
Because the AI is doing something a standard drum machine can't do. It's actively synthesizing the microtextures of a performance.
So it's not just playing back samples.
Right. When you program a drum machine, you are triggering static audio files. When Studio M519 prompts the AI for this, the neural network is generating the sound waves completely from scratch.
Oh, that makes a huge difference.
It means it embeds the natural variations, the slight imperfections, and the complex harmonic overtones that make a track feel alive. And that 120 BPM prompt you mentioned?
Yeah.
That isn't just an arbitrary number.
Right, there's a reason almost every major house track hovers around that tempo.
Exactly. 120 beats per minute perfectly matches the rhythm of a slightly elevated human heartbeat.
Wow. Okay.
So if you're designing a track for a club, you are literally trying to sync the acoustic waves hitting the listener's eardrums with their cardiovascular system. Studio M519 was mathematically targeting the listener's physiology to induce a state of high energy.
And narratively, it perfectly matches that elevated heart rate. The song tells this incredibly dark, stylish story about a toxic, alluring late-night encounter.
It really hooks you.
It opens with this whispered intro that just grabs you by a collar. The lyric is whispered, "You should know better, but you won't."
The psychological manipulation in that single lyric is fantastic. It establishes the power dynamic immediately.
It really does. And the creator used what I can only describe as acoustic word painting. There's a line in the chorus, "Sweet like sugar, sharp like glass."
Great lyrics.
And that perfectly mirrors the exact production prompts Studio M519 used. The AI generated these incredibly sweet, meticulously layered K-pop vocal harmonies, and then immediately contrasted them with a sharp glass of aggressive, jagged EDM synth stabs.
They explicitly designed this to feel like a high-speed late-night drive through a glowing neon city skyline.
I can totally picture it.
By combining the atmospheric pads with addictive post-chorus hooks, they built an atmosphere that is deeply seductive, but incredibly intimidating. It is precision engineering at its finest.
Okay, so if we're keeping track here, we have the brilliance of Minimalist trust with Lone Wolf,
Right.
We have the brilliance of surgical dictatorial precision with Studio M519. Both approaches yielded incredible results.
They did.
But to win this competition, to take first place, a creator had to somehow balance both the raw, transcendent emotion of the latent space with absolute, hyper-specific technical engineering.
And that brings us to the undisputed King of the Hill,
The masterpiece.
a track that earned a literally flawless score of 100 out of 100. It's called sadBoy by the artist Ghost MKC.
Earning a perfect score in a competition graded by your peers on this level is just staggering. And the prompt list Ghost MKC used to build this, honestly, if you look at it on paper, it looks like a recipe for absolute disaster. It shouldn't work.
It looks like musical chaos. They push the absolute limits of genre blending.
Let me break down the genres they threw into this prompt box, because mixing this stuff is wild.
Let's hear it.
They asked the AI to fuse ethereal folktronica, Nordic ambient neoclassical, and shoegaze reverb haze. Then they threw in erratic granular IDM micro percussion and backed it all up with gospel choir-inspired harmony stacks.
It's so much.
Let's pause and unpack that terminology for you, because on paper, mixing erratic granular IDM micro percussion with a gospel choir sounds like mixing oil, water, and glitter.
Oh, definitely.
Shoegaze reverb haze, for those who might not know, is a production style where you push so much distortion and echo through the guitars that it creates this massive fuzzy wall of sound where you can barely distinguish individual instruments.
Right, it's very dense.
And granular IDM micropercussion, that involves taking a sound wave, chopping it up into milliseconds, and scattering those tiny slivers of audio to create a glitchy, erratic rhythm.
Yeah, it's super technical.
So my question is, if you ask an AI to give you a distorted wall of sound with glitchy micropercussions, how does it not just vomit out a wall of harsh, unlistenable mud?
The secret lies in a highly advanced technique called negative prompting. And this is where Ghost NKC's technical genius really shines.
This is where you tell the AI what you don't want it to do, right?
Exactly. But let's look at how that actually functions mathematically inside the neural network.
Okay, lay it on me.
When you ask the algorithm for a wall of sound or erratic percussion, its training data naturally associates those terms with heavy, aggressive genres.
Right, it makes assumptions.
Yeah, it thinks. Wall of sound.
Okay.
Okay, let's pull in the data weights for heavy metal distortion. Let's pull in the frequencies for chaotic noise.
It's just trying to be helpful by matching keywords to its historical data.
Right. So Ghost MKC utilized an aggressive list of negative tromps. They typed minus metal, minus screaming, minus trap 808, minus EDM drop, minus harsh noise.
And just to clarify for everyone, a trap 808 is that deep, booming, sustained bass drum sound you hear in a lot of Southern hip-hop.
Yes. And by typing those negative prompts, Ghost MKC wasn't just giving a suggestion. Think of it like placing a highly specific physical filter over a camera lens that entirely blocks out the wavelengths for the color red.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
You aren't changing the landscape you're shooting. You are mathematically forcing the lens to ignore certain data. Ghost MKC identified the specific aggressive frequencies and heavy waveforms the AI would naturally want to use, and mathematically dialed their probability down to absolute zero.
So they force the AI to build that massive, towering wall of sound using only the delicate, ethereal elements they prompted for, like the bowed strings, the hammered dulcimer, and the voices.
Exactly. They fenced the AI in, restricting it to a purely paranatural emotional space.
And speaking of the voices, we have to talk about the vocal avatars Ghost MKC curated for this, because they didn't just ask for a generic duet.
No, they were incredibly specific.
They gave the AI complex personality profiles to model the vocals after. For the male voice, they prompted for a tender, dreamy, spacey vocal, specifically asking for a soft Oliver Tree nasal croon with a gentle post-punk edge.
Which results in a sound that is incredibly grounded, intimate, and deeply vulnerable. It sounds like someone sitting right next to you.
Yes. And then they contrast that extreme intimacy with a powerful, ethereal female vocal that utilizes a soaring operatic falsetto. They explicitly asked for Florence emotional depth meets Fever Ray otherworldly intensity.
And that contrast between the grounded nasal croon and the otherworldly falsetto perfectly serves the core theme of the track. Because sadBoy is built around one of the most profound metaphorical flips I've ever heard.
The narrative begins with this concept of descending into a dark hole in the backyard. And traditionally, moving downwards into the dark is a metaphor for depression, failure, or, hitting rock bottom.
Right, a negative thing.
But Ghost MKC turns that descent into a euphoric, psychedelic ascension.
Let's look at the lyrics, because they immediately establish this reframing.
They are absolute poetry. The first verse brings you in so close with that intimate male vocal. It goes, "There's a hole in the backyard, have been talking to me since June, says the bottom ain't the bottom, says the dark is just a room."
That line strips away the inherent fear of the unknown. It personifies the darkness not as a threat, but as a transitional space.
And then, this devastatingly beautiful line, "Mama said, don't you jump." I said, "Mama, I'm already there."
The quiet resignation in that delivery, paired with the simple acoustic guitar, you feel the immense emotional weight this character is carrying.
But then the structure shifts, the pre-chorus arrives, and that soaring, operatic female vocal enters the mix.
Oh, it's so good.
The lyrics are, "and the ground let go like it always meant to, and I didn't fall, I just finally went through." This is where the production perfectly matches the narrative.
The strings just take over.
The bowed strings swell, the granular percussion starts to scatter across the stereo field, and the physical sensation of the audio shifts from a heavy fall to a weightless float. And then the chorus hits. Both of these distinct voices fuse together, completely backed by this towering, massive gospel choir harmony stack.
It's massive.
Hold my hand on the way down, because down is how I rise. Down is how I rise. It is such a triumphant, defiant reframing of hitting absolute rock bottom.
And this is where the underlying music theory of the prompts pays off beautifully. Ghost MKC prompted the track to be exactly 82 BPM in the key of E major.
Okay, so why is that important?
Historically, E major is a very bright, triumphant, uplifting key. It has 4 sharps, it feels resolved and victorious. But by slowing it down to a hypnotic 82 BPM, they stretch that triumph out.
Ah, I see.
It allows the massive shoegaze reverb hazes and the deep sub-bass frequencies the time they need to fully expand and fill the listener's headphones. The AI mathematically translated the feeling of falling into the audio equivalent of being lifted upward into the light.
There is this beautiful exchange in the second verse where the two vocal avatars trade lines. The grounded male vocal sings, "I'm not scared of the quiet," and the ethereal female vocal immediately responds, "No, the quiet's where I live."
It's like a conversation.
It feels like you're listening to his own subconscious, or maybe some guardian entity, guiding him through the darkness and giving him permission to just let go.
By the time we reach the final chorus, Ghost MKC has pushed every single element to its absolute maximum probability. The gospel choir harmony stacks are towering over the mix.
You can just get lost in it.
The male and female vocals are fused at peak falsetto intensity, and those microscopic, erratic IDM percussions are shimmering over the top of everything, like digital stardust. It creates a euphoric, overwhelming climax that genuinely earns every point of that perfect score.
The song ends with this breathtaking decrescendo. The voices literally dissolve into this heavy reverb haze, just gently chanting up, 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 while the sound of the acoustic guitar slowly fades into the distance. It leaves you feeling completely weightless. It's stunning.
It truly is. And, I think reviewing these tracks leaves us with a fascinating final thought to mull over for this deep dive.
Let's hear it.
If you take a step back and look at what we've unpacked today, the neural networks, the complex probability weights, the deep mathematical manipulation of a latent space, it's easy to get lost in the cold, synthetic nature of the tools.
Sure, it sounds very clinical when you just list the prompts.
But look at the actual art that was produced. The crushing, elemental paranoia of feeling judged by the heavens, the dangerous, toxic allure of a city night, and the profound, euphoric realization that falling down can actually be a mechanism for rising up.
Those aren't synthetic concepts at all. Those are undeniably deeply human experiences.
Exactly. But here is the provocative reality for us moving forward. An artificial intelligence just proved it can perfectly calculate the tempo of our heartbeats, analyze the frequencies of our sadness, and mathematically reconstruct our deepest emotional triumphs from a text prompt.
Wow, when you put it like that.
It leaves you wondering, if the algorithm is already this good at predicting exactly what will resonate with human biology and psychology, how long until it no longer needs our text prompts to know exactly what we want to hear before we even ask for it?
That is a staggering thought to end on. The tools have evolved, the instruments are invisible, but for now, the human heart is still holding the conductor's baton.
Thank you for listening to Hellcat's King of the Hill podcast. Make sure to check the description to hear the full tracks, and join the server if you want to play in King of the Hill.